Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you each and every day this summer by Ketone IQ, of course, made by HVMN. And we're going to talk about Stage 11. Alain, what's up?
Stage 11, Clermont-Ferrand to Moulins. Clermont-Ferrand to Moulins.
Yeah, that one was, we even could have said that. That was pretty good. Wow, I mean, look, not a whole lot to talk about. Jasper Philipsen is by far the fastest guy in the race. And again, not having been in that dynamic necessarily, George, but you know, it seems to me like you start winning a couple of those, you got the team he's got the confidence. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, he's on a roll. He's unstoppable. And even today, we saw that he was kind of left alone in the last 1,500 meters, but it doesn't really matter anymore. He's got 3 stage wins. He's got nothing to lose, and he's got the respect of the other sprinters, so he pretty much can take whatever wheel he wants, and was able to just kind of float those wheels and win, which looked a win that looked relatively easy. I mean, he came around Dylan Groenewegen, who's on very good form, but just flew past him like it was not a big deal.
Yeah, we'll get into some of that action here in a sec, talk about just some other things, especially here in the next, really for the rest of the week. But before we do, today's show brought to you by Huckberry. If you're watching the show, check this shirt out. I've got this, how do I look? The denim, the blue shirt. George has his Huckberry bought shirt.
By the way, all of the Move team is trying to steal this from me right now.
No, I love that shirt.
Bulge Sky LA.
Nice.
I love it.
You could wear it open like this with nice T-shirt underneath, or close it up.
And the chain. Every must-have chain.
Chain.
Scarface starter kit.
I don't.
Huckberry is building the future of retail for active, adventurous guys, like us. Where style and adventure converge, millions trust them as their one-stop men's shop for discovering and shopping well-crafted and well-curated products. It's true. They send out, I think the last I heard, they literally send out millions of newsletters every day. And I love the newsletter, even if I'm not shopping. Just tons of cool content on there. And they're also pulling not just curated products, but curated pieces of content. I saw a great piece on there yesterday about Malcolm Gladwell that they pulled from, I think, one of these fancy highbrow magazines like New Yorker or something.
Malcolm, a Forward alumni.
Yeah, he's a big,
Love that dude.
Big endurance guy. Some of our favorite stuff we've curated, not just myself, but JB and George curated just some of our favorite items on Huckberry. So for our team and our listeners and our members, go on over to huckberry.com/themove. That's huckberry.com/themove. You'll see some of the things, I mean, George and I got like stylish stuff. JB got pocket knives and meat seasoner. Huckberry.com/themove. Also today brought to you by Roca. While we're talking about Roca, George, with that shirt, with the Scarface starter kit necklace, why don't we put the Torinos on as well? I think that's a good look. I mean, boy, rooftop at the W, if you roll up like that, the people just leave.
Something's going down.
Yeah. Roca has invented a completely new class of eyewear. Glasses optimized for performance. So whether it's on the performance side, the casual side. By the way, those ones that George just rocked, the Torinos, you can use them on the active side and the style side. Tons of crossover there. The best optics out there, super clear, do not fog, and scratch resistant. Also, if you're, somebody like me that likes to sweat and just can't avoid it, they've got the no slip. No matter how much you're sweating, they will not slip off your face. Hand built to order in our hometown of Austin, Texas. The Move listeners get 20% off. Just go to Roca, ROKA.com. That gets you 20% off. Use the code THEMOVE at Roca.com. You wonder, if you're and I'm sort of watching, you're watching a lot of these other sprinters. The thing that sticks out to me, and by the way, Philipsen's he's pretty young. But if some of these guys that have been around a while, that they're, time is running out for them. Look, for a sprinter to win a stage in the Tour de France, you kind of have to be considered one of the greats. You got to win a tour stage. A guy like Caleb Ewan, he's got a few years left, but time starts to run out, and then you got this young kid who's just toying with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 6 victories so far, and he's on a roll this year, perhaps another 2. can come along his way, and it's just these guys got to start figuring out a different plan on how to beat him. Obviously, if it's an uphill sprint, it's a different scenario we saw the other day with Mats Peterson, but these flat, straight running sprints, even if they're technical, lots of corners, even if he's by himself in the last 2,000 meters, he can still do it. So they got to start figuring out a different tactic if they want to beat him.
And he's got these guys around him.
And up until now, we were saying, well, he has that Vanderpool lead out.
Right.
That he didn't have that today and still pulled it off.
That's what I'm saying. He had these guys around him. Soren Kragh Andersen, who can, is not afraid to be in the front. Keep in mind, too, for those just listening and are watching on TV, look, I have no interest ever. I'd never had any interest, and I certainly don't have any today, of even trying to be there. It is so, you see all the juking and jiving and the elbows and the quick movements. It's terrifying. Like, that's just to be there is a thing.
Yeah, Wout van Aert was bumping a bunch today.
It's even more terrifying, as you know, Lance, with 30 kilometers to go when the field is not quite strung out yet. Today, for instance, it was raining, but there's 4 or 5 teams at the front trying to keep their GC guys or their sprinters in the front. The rain's coming down. I mean, this is as stressful as it gets when you come into a finale of the Tour de France. 30 to 30K, then it starts, obviously, the peloton starts stringing out as they get closer to the finish line, but then you got the corners coming into these cities, so it's just nonstop stress, in that final hour and a half.
Got the roundabouts coming into town.
Yeah.
And there was a gap. I mean, when you see that I think there were 17. It's rare that they give them a split, but I think there's the UCI or the commissars. Anytime there's more than a 2 bike length gap, they give a time gap, and that time gap is from Philipsen, who won, to whoever is the next guy after the 2 bike lengths, which in this case was Jonas Vingegaard, who was in 18th place. Heads up for him, good call to be in front. They gave him a 7-second gap. I mean, you imagine, I don't know, a Pogacar sneaks in there and just stays on the wheels.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering right now. If they got to start deciding. I mean, Wout van Aert, the incredible cyclist he isn't quite the level he was at last year, or things aren't quite clicking. But on a day like today, where you might have been able to get 7 seconds on your competitor had you stayed with your leader, where they just kind of Laporte and went out. Van Aert did their own thing and tried to go for the sprint and finished getting 9th place or something, which is nothing to them. Where they could have perhaps stayed with Jonas and maybe had him in that little front bubble and gotten a little 7-second bonus on Pogacar. That to me is a missed opportunity.
Interesting. That's a good one. I don't think we've ever talked about that scenario in the 7 years of doing this.
Right.
I think I'm reading this stat right, but Philipsen has also had 6 second places in the Tour de France.
Well, that's the nature of it. If you're gonna win, he's now won 6 stages. You're gonna have, if you go down the line, I'm sure he's got 4 third places. I mean, if you're in the mix, and especially early in your career when you're not quite that guy, you're going to get some seconds and thirds. And even if you are that guy, you're going to have a bad day or have a bad lead out. But you're always, you don't go from, finishing 10 times 40th and then 6 stage wins. He's in the mix.
I think I had asked earlier in this tour, has any sprinter ever won all of the sprint stages? And
that's a good question.
I know, and I think Johan's answer, like some stages it's hard to determine that because so many stages are questionable. Is that a sprint stage or not?
I don't know the answer to that. I do know, back in the day when we had the dominant riders like Cipollini, I mean, these guys these days are so much more dynamic. It's like there's almost not even a question on guys like Philipsen whether or not he's going to make the time cut most days, because he's so strong and climbs so good and yet be so dominant in the sprints. I mean, I feel like these guys are just much more complete riders, where a guy like Cipollini would dominate the sprint, but he'd go home after 10 days just because he did what he needed to do. Nowadays, I feel like these sprinters, like the Wout van Aerts, the Philipsens, they can just do so much more than just sprint, and they have to. Otherwise, they're not making it to the finish line.
And do you think, we're talking about Cipollini, just remembering back to some of his wins, he had this train, and for those that have followed cycling long enough, you'll remember, I mean, it was his train, and that was it. Like everybody, then there was this race or this competition to see who could be on his wheel, and that was utilizing their train. But I mean, he'd have 4 or 5 guys lined up, and they had it down. It was like a military operation. You go from 3K to 2, and you go in, and it just peel off. Boom, Chippo goes, hands in the air, seeing the douches. You don't see that anymore.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore. I think all the sprinter teams kind of just figured out that's the best playbook, so they all try to do it now. And what happens is they all end up colliding in those last 2,000 meters, and whoever just happens to get that lucky break and takes the corner first with a teammate behind, they establish the final lead out. Where before it was only one team or two teams maximum that can do that.
Today's show also brought to you by AG1. I had this thought on AG1. Look at this packaging, right? And I had a question. It has to do with Philipsen. What has happened with the green jersey? Have you noticed that?
You missed all that before the tour that everybody's talking about. They started, I think, in Paris.
It just blends with.
It really blends in. It's.
I don't like it.
I mean, to my friends over at AG1, I think this is. Well, George doesn't like it, but if
I don't like it in the green jersey. I love the AG1.
I agree. I mean, but it's the color of the pack. What happened to green?
They changed it.
That's weird, I think. Anyways, AG1, the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. It's our go-to. We do it. We take it every morning religiously, not just obviously when we're here at home, but also when we're on the road. They've got the convenient travel packs. Throw those in your bag and just blend it with water, and you have an entire solution. The truth is, I was tired of taking supplements, and I wanted a single solution that supports my entire body and covers nutritional bases every day. A big one for me was I wanted better gut health, which I think should be a big one for everybody, and a boost in energy. I've been low. No, I haven't been low on energy, but I want more energy. Is there such thing as too
I'm
much?
actually kind of annoyed by the amount of energy you have. Today we roll up to his house. It's 7:15. Homie's sitting out there, no shirt on, like packing his bike stuff for the ride after the show. And, back in the day, last year, I'd be rolling up. He's still in bed, comes down, half asleep, groggy, hungover. And now it's like he's like flexing. And we should have gotten a picture of that, head of HR, him flexing in the driveway at 7:15 in the morning. It's a little annoying, but, I'm proud of you.
In case that bear comes back.
Well, and
that.
those 5 pounds are gone, right?
At least.
Yeah, I think I doubled it. I got down 10. Anyways, amazing immune system support, which is also super important. With every daily serving, I am setting myself up, as we all are, for success with 75 high-quality ingredients that give us all the key daily nutrients and support all these cool things like energy, focus, strength, and clarity. Also, all for less than $3 a day. Think about that. Take control of your health for less than $3 a day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Head on over to drinkag1.com/themove. Again, that's drinkag1.com/themove. Also today brought to you by HVM. When is our mountain bike ride with our HVMN homies?
Saturday.
Because apparently when we were talking about them yesterday, it got back to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think Holmes is stretching and getting all kinds of body work, probably getting a new bike, and just swimming in ketone IQ.
Yeah.
We often hear about that fasting and exercise are good for the brain. HVMN launched the world's first drinkable ketone in 2017. Ketone IQ is their latest innovation on ketones with improved effectiveness, taste, and cost. And not only are obviously a lot of riders in the tour using it, but a lot of the key members of the special forces here in the United States. So these guys aren't messing around. You can save 30% off your first subscription order of Ketone IQ at hvmn.com/themove. Again, visit hvmn.com/themove. And a new partner today. Today's show also brought, and I'm excited to talk about this one because this just landed on the doorstep the other day, and I was like, damn, I can't wait to try this out. Our new partner today is 8 Sleep. Now, for those who know, we love sleep, right? We love tracking our sleep. We love getting quality sleep. Summer is reaching its apex, and there's nothing worse than tossing, turning, and sweating in the night because of the summer heat. The pod cover by 8 Sleep will keep you cool all night, all the way down to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, if you can manage that. But with cooler temps, you wake up fully refreshed. The pod cover by 8 Sleep fits on any bed just like a fitted sheet. It can cool down and warm up and adjust based on the phases of your sleep and the environment that you are in. When I got this thing, I opened it up and I started to put it together, right? You've got the mattress cover, you've got the cooling unit, and then you've got the app. I love stuff that reminds me, not to be that, but listen, let's face it, Apple does everything perfect from a design standpoint, whether it's the packaging, the integration, the app, the usability. This thing reminded me of an Apple product. It was just so damn good.
Yeah, connecting with the app and being able to adjust the temperature so easily. I mean, when I go take a nap, I can adjust the temperature down to whatever. I go to like 63 degrees. It's an incredible product, and it's dual zone too, so you can have your temperature and your wife can have the other temperature.
But it also prompted you to say, email your partner.
Yeah.
So they could set their settings.
Or how about waking up to just the temperature rising or a mild vibration instead of a alarm?
I was
game-changer.
screwing with Anna this morning. I turned on her alarm. It went off at like 7. She texted me. She's like, "How do I turn off this bed alarm?" The bed was vibrating.
That's funny.
That was funny. Head on over to 8sleep.com/themove and save $150 on the pod cover. Stay cool this summer with 8 Sleep, now shipping within the USA, Canada, the UK, select countries in the EU, and Australia. Again, that's 8sleep.com/themove. This is cool. I'm telling you, I've noticed it, and you see it. Obviously we're early partners with Aura. You see the difference in your sleep data. It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
It sure works.
All right, the next 4 stages are looking
I did want to give
brutal.
a quick update on Cav. I spoke to him, and he's in great spirits mentally. Obviously, I didn't ask anything about what he's going to do, but I'm just happy to hear he's in a good place. And he was sitting around alone at a hotel room waiting for surgery, which, that's kind of like our sport. So many people think about our sport as being so glamorous. These guys stay in amazing hotels. They get the best of the best, but I mean, the guy crashed several days ago and had to stay in a hotel room by himself, waiting for surgery. So it's just I keep saying it. I know I'm not trying to, disencourage young kids to get into sport, but it's a tough sport, and all these guys are gladiators, and I'm just glad that Cav's in a great space, and I hope this surgery will go well.
That seems weird because when we were talking about like Pogacar's wrist injury, like he was in surgery like the next day.
Exactly.
And we're saying that seems to be more of the norm. Why? Yeah. What is this waiting on?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't ask those details, but yeah, I didn't. Did you broke a collarbone ever? Or
I did, but before I get into that, look, to me, I see cycling, I see the Tour de France, and I look at comparable sports. Right? Let's just run a set of comps here, and you think about. A lot of times I use Formula One, a global sport viewed by a global audience. If any driver in Formula One had any sort of issue that needed surgery, they'd be on the jizzy within 20 minutes, going to not just some hospital, they'd be going to a center of excellence and have the most amazing surgeon doing that. The fact Mark Cavendish is still sitting there, and if you've ever broken a collarbone, which I have, it's very painful. It's not one thing. It's not something you want to sit around for days. I don't know the extent of the break or the separation, but it's very painful. The one time I crashed in a race in Spain and flew back and had Dr. Doug Ellens in Austin do it. So I had probably 24 hours tops before between the crash and the actual surgery, and I got on a flight with, unfortunately, Liz Kreutz was on that plane. I needed somebody to come with me.
Head of Creative was talking about how much you were complaining that whole flight, how much pain you were in.
I don't even remember. We must have gone Madrid to somewhere, and I think they had to almost stop the plane. I mean, this shit was in the press. I was so rowdy.
That's funny because
I was taking I was taking stuff, all right, for the flight, and might have had a few cocktails as well, but. Yeah,
see, that's funny because last time I broke my collarbone in 2009, I did the last 5 stages of the Tour de France and went after the race finished to the doctor.
Is that a true story?
True story.
Did you break yours
leading
more than
out Mark
once?
Cavendish on the last stage? I might add.
You broke it more than once, too. Didn't you in a pair?
No, I separated shoulder and Roubaix. That one was different. That one I was not getting up from, but the broken collarbone in the Tour. Got back up, kept going.
If I can defend myself, there are different stages of, again,
Correct.
breaks or separations. I wouldn't, believe me, I wasn't doing anything after that other than trying to get kicked off an airplane. Where were they? I mean, they would have stopped in like the Azores, like get this idiot off the plane. I was miserable. But back to the point, like to wait days and days and days. Not what you imagine, folks.
All right, now back to you've kind of flipped out a little bit, Lance, looking at the next 4 stages. Brutal.
I always, of course, these days that are relatively uneventful outside of the dominance of Jasper Philipsen, you have to kind of start just looking ahead. We do it every day. We look at tomorrow's stage. I had some time today, so I thought, okay, let's just keep going. And as I saw this thing play out, of course, tomorrow's Thursday. You know, we got a rest day. The next rest day is Monday. What's going to happen between now and then? Here's tomorrow. Look at this. I mean, this looks like a saw, right? So not a day. I don't think that is a GC fight, but this is a day that's going to be hard for everybody.
A bonus on the last climb.
Time bonus on, and that, you know, the Col de la Croix-Roussier is 7.6%. Probably has some pitches of 8 or 9%. Long ways from the finish, so no incentive to try to get away, but time bonus on top. Maybe they let a group go that will eat up that time bonus. But here we go. That's Thursday.
Yeah,
now
let's not forget, the further we get into the race, every time the riders see these uphill finishes, it's just, no matter how good a shape you are, it's going to hurt like hell because the body takes a minute to wake up.
Yep.
So this is going to be a very hard, very aggressive start. I can imagine it taking a while for the breakaway to actually go.
And if you have, as we saw today, some rain, some declining weather, it's a stage like this, anytime it's up and down like that, you know the roads are small and twisty, and I haven't looked at the forecast, but bad weather can make this day 3 times harder. All right, so then we go to Friday. I mean, boom. I mean, uneventful, and you know, for the first 80 kilometers, but you know, uphill finish, 17.4. 7% Grand Colombier, right? All right, so that's Friday. So let's go Saturday. Boom, another day, right? All day long, climbing, descending, with another time bonus at the end. Relatively short day.
Yeah, that looks like the hardest day thus far in the Tour de France. For me, short day like that, they're going to be going full stick on this.
Okay, and then Sunday.
And let's back up one second, because we have all these discussions about, you know, perhaps changing the downhill finishes coming in, and now we have a major downhill finish. Lance and I have raced down this. Right. It's a very technical, twisty, turny.
Yep.
You've taken some mad risk coming down that. I remember the year you bonked when Pantani attacked and you were on the limit, but going down with, you know, you probably weren't there mentally fully because we ran out of energy. That is a very dangerous descent. Let's hope for the best.
Maybe you guys can elaborate on that too. Descending after an uncategorized climb and a time bonus, but you know, we've all descended and we're cautious. We're going probably half the speed that pros do in a race, and it's still terrifying. But you're also blurry-eyed from that finish. Like you're not even thinking straight. Like how long does it take you to recover to feel normal? To gather your wits.
These guys have everything planned out. Top of the Juplon, there's a nice little flat section, if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
Guaranteed they'll have staff there handing them calories to, you know, get them back up and hopefully get that descent in full mental focus and go down as safe as possible.
Or not, because that's within the zone where you can't feed. That was I don't know what they'll do for that stage. Of course, weather affects some of that stuff. If it's hot, they'll allow some feeding. I couldn't take feeding that day. I mean, I was out of fuel on the Juplin, and I couldn't take fuel. That's why I was looking around asking guys with that one guy, Conti or whatever.
Yeah.
I said, hey, bro, you got to gel. And I did not say, hey, bro, because he was Italian, didn't speak English. I was like, I don't know what I was doing.
You're like the poor kid at school lunch.
Conti just kind of towed you back in, right?
Yeah, I bummed a gel off him, and he just kind of towed me in. But so that was Saturday. Then, not to be outdone. Here comes Sunday. This is the next 4 days. Look at that. Right? Uphill finish again on Sunday. I mean, these next 4, by the way, Sunday, look at the start, George. You talk about days you hate. Look at that start.
Oh,
straight
man.
uphill.
Yeah, straight up.
And I mean, the next 4 days in terms of vertical feet or meters climbed are absolutely diabolical. And we won't even get ahead of that or even go into the final week. You would think, and even George saw these 4 days and thought, God, they must just cruise into Paris. Spoiler alert, they don't, right? This is the next, if you're interested in the Tour and this GC battle, and you know, we're going to really see this battle for the podium spot shape up, you better watch the next 4 days.
Well, where do you find motivation as a sprinter? We just went on and on about Philipsen dominating, and then I got to get over those to stage 18.
Yeah.
Well, it's just misery loves company. So these guys all stay together. A guy like Philipsen will have 3, 4, 5 guys around him. All the breast sprinters will have guys, and these guys will ride together in big groups. And their only goal is just to stay within the time cut.
That's right. Yeah. We'll do some questions.
Yeah, I'll do this trivia first, and then I've got some good questions. This is from Ventum enter to win an NS1, the road bike, complete bike. All right, so every day they're drawing from the correct answers, and then you're going to draw the final on the last day.
Oh, cool.
Okay. The question from yesterday was
But hang on a second. The like 4,000 people have registered. Is there somewhere that there's going to be 4,000 names in there? That better be a big bucket.
We have big buckets. We've ordered a big, very large bucket.
Good.
Big bucket. Who was Lance Armstrong's youth swim coach? Now that's digging deep. Even in the age of the internet, that's digging deep. That answer is from
Chris McCurdy.
Chris McCurdy.
Yeah, one of the greatest swim coaches of all time. It was a very, very important person in my life.
This was in Plano?
That was in Plano. City of Plano Swimmers.
Yeah.
That was the only time we were called the cops.
Seriously?
Yeah, City of Plano Swimmers. We were the cops, yeah. That was, every swim team has, the team in Richardson was COR, C-O-R, City of Richardson. We were the cops. Huh. Ugliest colors ever. We were like this ugly maroon and yellow. It was awful. I don't know. I was like, but McCurdy is a legend.
Cool. Do you stay in touch?
He still lives up in North Texas, very near my mom. My mom's very close with not just Chris and his wife's name is Christy, their kids, and and the guy's fit. You think you want to see somebody fit? Dude's probably, I don't know, 70 now. Some bitch is ripped.
Not to go too off topic, but you'll relate to this. I just went a month ago to a wedding in Aubrey, which is north of Frisco.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But just the landscape of North Texas, where you rode as a kid, you were on the edge of town then.
Right.
Plano was the edge of town. Not even close now.
No, I know.
You'd have to drive an hour to find the edge of town.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, the question today, email these in with the correct answer. You'll go into the drawing. You could win the NS1. Who was the tallest person to ever race the Tour?
Wow. Ooh. I'm actually curious about that one.
Yeah,
do you know offhand? I'll tell you this: they were 6'6".
You got the answer?
I think I have it. I think I have it.
Do you want to know? It's right there.
Yeah.
Is it who I'm thinking about, George?
Do you know the name?
No.
Okay. All right. Good luck.
It could have been in 1904 with Henry.
Wait, I should have known that. That was easy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Aren't the Schlecks pretty tall?
No.
Taller than you?
No.
And how tall are you, George? 6'3"?
I'm 6'3".
Dang. Okay. Now let's do some. Send that into trivia@ventumracing.com.
Yep.
All right. Good luck. Some questions, real quick. My wife and I just got back from following the first week of the tour through the Basque Country, and we were inspired to hear about Pello Bilbao adopting his fallen teammates' charity to plant trees in the gorgeous Basque region. I researched all morning, but haven't found a way to contribute. Do you or Johan know the name or the website of Gino Mater's charity? That's from Danny in Ann Arbor. I did do some research. Best I can tell, Pello Bilbao is sending people to justdigit.org with 2 G's. Just Dig It, and they're planting trees around the world.
And I think I had also heard that for every, I don't know if this is what Gino was doing, but Pello, for this tour, for everybody he beats on every stage, so say the day he won, he beat 176 guys, he's donating €1, basically $1 to, per person that he beats. So that, for example, 176 euros that day to the cause every day. Pretty cool.
And I learned yesterday from Johan, let's see, Gino's dog was named Pello. Those guys were really tight.
Oh, boy.
He adopted a dog and named it after him. So Anyway, another question. For the past days, we've heard something about Van der Poel being sick and getting better as well while being in the Tour de France. What extra measures, tricks do you know that these teams take in order to get the riders fit faster? I guess they're already on a mostly healthy food and sleep regime. So what could you do? What do you do when you get sick in the past, and how do you get over it? That's from Frank in the Netherlands.
Well, first thing they do is they put them in their own room and just try to keep them away from the rest of the team. I rode with Matthew Riccatello yesterday, and he was telling me how he got sick in the Giro. And just basically, the day he got sick, and Matthew, as we know, is an amazing climber. was first dropped with Cavendish and 2 other teammates, and he said they were just basically team time trial and trying to get to the finish line. He could barely help them on the flats. But a lot of these guys, it's just about survival, and then hoping you just get better. As we saw Matthew get better in the Giro and ended up getting top 10 place finish in the final time trial. But everybody obviously reacts differently to sicknesses, but they just do what they can to, give them their own card in the race, try to just hang on and get through the race.
And stay super hydrated.
Yeah.
Obviously, this race takes it out of you on the hydration, from a hydration standpoint. So, that's one thing they got to, but then also just cross your fingers. I mean, it's not the ideal place to try to get over any sort of virus or whatever.
I don't think, Frank, I don't think there's any real hacks. It's like the doctor that says, drink a bunch of fluids, get some rest, and a pat on the butt, right?
And good luck in the Tour de France stage tomorrow.
Yeah. Here's another one from Mark. The mountain stages are my favorite. I live in Colorado and have ridden many of the mountain roads here. I've not been to Europe. Could you give me more details on the comparisons between mountain roads in the U.S. versus Europe?
Well, we have a lot of diversity in mountains here in the U.S., so it's hard to answer that question. But certainly, what they're doing here, you got a lot of steep, windy climbs, small roads. I guess I can compare it a little bit to some of the climbs outside of Malibu or the Blue Ridge Mountain Range in the Carolinas.
Near you.
Yeah, Blue Ridge Mountain Range in the Carolinas. But here in Aspen, the climbs are totally different. They're much longer here and not as steep. Not as steep.
And you're dealing with obviously the elevation, which we talked about the other day. Climb in the past, you go 8,000 feet to 12,400. It's not that steep. Now it's long and it's hard and it's and you start to suffer because of the altitude. But the Colorado climbs just aren't. Maybe down on the Front Range you can find some steeper ones, but the climbs, I would argue, near George's house and hotel out there, Hotel Domestique, are harder. I mean, there's some climbs out there, 10 plus percenters for 30 plus minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, those are Euro style climbs. The ones here in this state, for example, they're not Euro style climbs. Mm-hmm. Just not as steep, not steep enough.
One more here. Huge fan of the show. Just wondering if Lance and George did any gym and strength training while racing world tours. Yeah. Do you know what the pros are doing these days as well? Is it 100% cycling, or is there any non-cycling training involved to get that extra edge? That's from Ben in Brooklyn.
I never did much strength. A little bit. I mean, in those comeback years, I did some gym work, but these guys, George, you know what these guys are doing now.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything from running to most of them do core training several times a week just to keep the back strong, because that's the first thing that goes out on these long climbs. And then a lot of the sprinter guys are doing power training as well throughout the season. I know Quinn Simmons does running and power training during the season. So a lot of these guys are super complete athletes.
And safe to say that if they're doing any kind of power work or resistance work, probably almost no upper body work. I mean, there's just no reason to have.
They don't want to carry one extra pound.
You don't need even a pound. You don't need a pound of upper body muscle.
Yep.
So. But the thing that gets me is you hear about these guys going for runs. I mean, I understand, I would go for runs in the off season just because you didn't have much time or you were traveling. These guys are running during the season. I mean, and they run fast. I mean, some of these, Pidcock, super fast runner. Evenepoel, super fast runner.
Who's the sub 4 miler?
Well,
that's Woods. We talked
Michael
about
Woods, obviously. I mean, that he came from running,
yeah,
but he probably still runs. But to run during the season, man,
yeah,
we joke about it all the time. Like, we just don't know anything anymore. That I don't understand. Obviously it's working, but boy, I mean, amazing.
Well, cool. We'll wrap it up on that note. If you want to send a message to the show, just send it to TheMove@wedo.team, and we'll see the GC battle back in action.
Everybody, just get a lot of rest tonight, folks, in honor of these guys for the next 4 days. You can go back and look for yourself. This bike race is about to start tomorrow.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow.